Hey, this is Anna.
And this is Kim.
And we are Saucy Southwest, where we bring you the histories,
mysteries,
murder,
and mayhem
of the American Southwest.
And we drink.
You don't have to.
Here we go. And what are we drinking today, Anna?
So I found a recipe.
Okay, I'm just going to put this out there. We're both cutting back on our alcohol consumption.
Yes.
Which is why we are doing a new thing on different drinks that we find either recipes for or...
Yes,
okay.
yes. We're doing new and different things, and there is no geological border or boundary. Geographical?
Not geological.
Y'all, I can't even word.
It's okay, we're going to have dinner soon.
True. So I made agua de Jamaica, which is...
Should I taste it first?
Yeah, try it.
Way tastier than the ranch dressing.
Oh my god, that stuff is vile. Like, I think you might consume the whole thing and maybe the rest of the mace jar that I brought.
Yes, I might. Would also be very good with a little vodka.
Yep.
But it's quite tasty. What's in it?
So this is a cup of dried hibiscus flowers, 5 cups of water, 1.5 teaspoons of grated lime zest. I didn't have lime zest, but I did lemon.
Okay.
So I used lemon. A half a cup of sugar. I tried to reduce the sugar. So I did 1/2 sugar I did essentially a 1/4 cup of sugar and a 1/4 cup of monk.
Okay.
So to reduce the carbs.
Right. No. I sometimes have issue with monk fruit sweetener. So
did not know that.
We will.
Well, see how you do.
Yeah. It is tasty though.
And then 1 cup of rum is optional.
Oh.
I did not add rum. I didn't realize that was part of the recipe until I started making it. And then I'm like, oh, well, it's optional, so it's fine.
Tasty.
But yeah, no,
it's a really pretty color too.
Yeah.
And like this could be a I would use coconut sugar because that's what I use, but because it has a lower glycemic index.
Yep.
But this would be a tasty sub for my sangria.
It really would.
And as a non-alcoholic option. Speaking of sangria, Memorial Day, I am smoking a brisket on Sunday, and you added
brisket
and potato salad.
Brisket.
Uh-huh.
Like, no, there is one word in all of that caught my attention. Did you figure out which one it was?
Potatoes.
No, although I do like potato salad.
No, it makes
very good potato salad.
Okay. Anyhow, so we're obviously recording before Memorial Day, but we'll report back to you on how the brisket is because I have a whole one that's taking up the entire bottom shelf of my freezer.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna smoke it and then divvy it up.
I am also texting you the recipe right now for that, so I don't
Where
forget.
did you get the hibiscus flowers? Mom.
Mommy has them in. Oh, I don't know. Seriously, I threw this together at the last minute from the stuff that I had available in my house. Who else has this many hibiscus flowers?
That was this might be really good, like cut with some club soda.
Yeah, well, and that's so what we normally do in the summertime is Mom makes various different concentrates with the hibiscus.
Okay.
And usually we don't use any sweetener, but we'll mix it sometimes lemon bulb, sometimes it's rose hip, sometimes it's ginger. I mean, just kind of depending on however we're feeling, we'll steep it and then have a big mason jar of this concentrate. And then mix it in with bubbly water.
Okay. Oh.
Or some in the winter, like just make it like regular hot tea. It's got, I don't know, good antioxidants or some shit in it. It's tasty.
It's tasty.
That's more what I care about. Okay, y'all, it is freaking cold given that it's May 22nd today.
A friend of mine went up to Denver this weekend and it's snowing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that doesn't, I grew up there.
I know. Well, and they were like, why didn't you warn me? Oh, kind of forgot.
I know, like, it's just a normal thing that happens every few years about this time.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, my junior year of high school, I was taking my trigonometry final. Look out the window. And it was snowing, which I was like, oh, it's snowing very loudly in the middle of the final. But
you gonna travel?
No, our teacher who was newer to the Rocky Mountain West was like, wait, what? Swivel head out and was like, oh, a solid way for anyone who fails this test to get the teacher retracted.
There you go.
No, but after that we went to Elitch's because it melted.
Oh yeah.
And then it was like in the 70s. Actually perfect weather to go to Elitch's.
Yeah, it is. Anyhow.
Back when it was, well, this was after it went from Elitch Gardens to Six Flags Gardens.
Okay, that is easy.
It's good. I will say you have to be very careful with hibiscus because it can get very bitter and very raw.
Yeah, but I kind of like that because one of the things I was thinking about that I like about wine is the tannins and the...
Yes. Well, and that's why it's so hard to find a good alcohol-free wine.
Right.
Because the removal of the alcohol for most of the wines, it's like it removes the tannin and the dryness, and then it leaves you with flat grapes.
Right.
And by flat, I mean like it doesn't have a well-rounded on flavor. It's very one note.
Note.
The flavor is flat.
There you go.
And no, it's still as well. It's not bad for.
Okay.
Notice the question in my voice.
I know.
I'm like, not bad. I wouldn't recommend. I wouldn't.
What would you recommend?
Using real wine for cooking.
Okay.
Y'all, if you do not drink wine and you do not like wine and you have a recipe that needs wine, go and get the little Botox.
Yeah.
Either the red blend or the Pinot. Both are lovely. Both are cheap. It will give you exactly what you need, but I promise you, just go and grab some random bottle of wine. You are going to hate what you have just made because cooking it down concentrates the flavor.
Right. And the Boda, and the Boda Red are both, they're solid.
Yeah, like they're just solid house wines that are good for a cooking use.
Sure.
You don't have to worry about the flavor getting all bleh.
Okay.
Number of people I've had to have this conversation with now calls at grocery stores.
Yeah.
I don't drink. I'm just going to grab them. Like, no, please don't. Please don't. Get that one.
So, Anna, what are we talking about today?
So, today, we are going to go back to...
Originalists,
yeah. May they rotten. Presumptive assholes.
Okay. What are we going to talk about?
Oh, I said that out loud, didn't I?
You did.
I say the quiet parts out loud. Have you noticed?
I've noticed.
I'm sorry. I'm going to try not to go on another rant about originalism.
I appreciate that.
I'm gonna try. I make no promises. We all know my view on originalism.
Yes, and to be fair, it was all in good context because when that was about a political rally that episode. So rallies that were deadly.
Yes.
Anyhow, go back and listen.
Yeah. If you haven't, go listen, please. Thank you. Like, comment, subscribe, do all
that stuff.
Social media thingies, please. No. So today we are gonna go back to May 20th, 2018, Pentecost Sunday.
Okay.
At the Lady of Guadalupe Catholic Church in Hobbs, New Mexico.
I can tell you Hobbs zip code.
Hobbs is almost to Texas. It's not part of the state.
Part of my job is doing service of process, which means I have to serve companies that are being sued.
Mm-hmm.
And most out-of-state companies have in-state places where you can be served. One is in Espanola and one is in Hobbs. So I know that, and I send those out, and even though there are two big ones, I mean, there are more in the state. Those are the two big ones.
No, I'm just like, the two big ones in the state are in Espanola and Hobbs.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Sorry, if you had said Albuquerque, I would not have been surprised.
And I am floored that it's not in Albuquerque.
Right, like that's the largest city in the state. It's also the most central city in the state. I feel like it would be easier to have a tiny office that did nothing but act as the in-state location for business.
That's pretty much all it is. So.
Yeah, but I guess Hobbs and Espanola are cheap.
88240.
Okay. Good to know.
875.
So what happened on that fine Pentecost Sunday was after the noon mass, parishioners went up to the Lady of Guadalupe statue.
Right.
I noticed crying.
Oh, really?
So, throughout the ages, there have been a lot of instances of statues that are crying.
Right.
Now, most of these have been found to be hoaxes. One of the biggest hoaxes happened back in the 60s in Italy. A Virgin Mary statue was purported to be crying blood. The Vatican has very strict rules they follow, and they investigate every single one of these instances because they're very careful, especially in the modern age, about, talking about miracles and kind of the religious mysticism. The Catholic Church is actually quite pro-science. I know it's weird, but they are.
Politics and religion, folks. We bring it all.
There is no topic we will not discuss. Hey, I might not like the Catholic Church, but I got to appreciate any religion who sees something like this and their first response is, let's send an investigative team.
Right. So, did the Vatican send an investigative team?
The Vatican sent a team.
Okay, cool.
So this happened on Pentecost.
In 2018.
In 2018.
How have I not heard about this?
Honestly, I hadn't heard about this either. I was trying to figure out what to talk about for this episode. Did a random Google search of fun facts about New Mexico. And there was a list of 12 things and this was on it. And I'm like, wait, we had a weeping statue here?
Cool.
What?
In Hobbs.
I know. Of all of the places, it was Hobbs, not Las Cruces or Albuquerque or Santa Fe or Hobbs.
Okay, so tell me more. I'm intrigued.
So, It is a bronze statue.
A bronze statue in Hobbs, New Mexico.
It's a bronze statue.
Okay,
of the Lady of Guadalupe.
Y'all have to understand. There are lots of statutory shops here.
Yeah, statuary.
Statuary, not statutory. I'm sorry. I work in government. We deal with a lot of laws. There are a lot of statuary places here.
Everywhere
in the state. And my favorite spice shop down in Albuquerque, the Fruit Basket, they ship. So if you need New Mexican spices, they'll ship. There's one full section of this shop that are statues, and like a huge portion of that of the Lady of Guadalupe. And they're all plaster.
Right. So, and something you have to understand for those not in the Southwest, the Lady of Guadalupe is essentially the patron saint of Mexico and the Southwest.
Right.
She is very, very popular.
Insanely popular.
And so if you're talking...
I've seen more bad tattoos of Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's more popular here than the Virgin, to be perfectly honest.
Yes.
As someone who is not a Catholic, I have no skin in that particular game, so, whatever.
Right.
Enjoy. But I will say that if you look at any of the cases of weeping statues that have happened in the Southwest, in Mexico, down into Latin America and South America, they do primarily tend to be the Virgin of Guadalupe, like the Lady of Guadalupe, not the Virgin Mary. And it's really just because
Jesus' mom needs some love, people.
She's got your own. Really, she has her whole accent on plus the rest of North.
Not that true.
Let us have our thing down here, okay?
No.
Right after I say I have no skin in this game. No, I really. But it's something that you will notice in any of the research or any of the stories that are coming out about crying statues. Some of the first crying statue incidents are noted in Europe as far back as the 1100s and even farther back.
No, when I lived in Europe, there were like several shrines, usually to the Virgin Mary, and it was because they had cried. They had cried, or some, or the Virgin had. The Virgin gets,
she gets a lot of love in Europe.
Yeah, she does.
The non-southwestern part of the United States, Canada.
Okay, carry on. So,
where's I for Santa Muerte? Death is just the opposite of birth.
Yes.
Y'all who like birth are the ones that are weird.
Okay, as the only person in this room who's given birth, it's weird.
Right? Like, I've known way too many women who have gone through that, and I'm like, no, thank you. No, thank you.
Okay.
I'm not a fan.
Well, poor Virgin Mary, she got that without any of the fun.
No. Because virgin at the time just meant young woman. It had nothing to do with sexual promiscuity.
Okay.
I know you know this, but most people don't.
Carry on.
So, we are, sorry, y'all, I'm sorry that the fires in the state make my allergies miserable.
Oh, it's awful.
So, had to take a minute and not have an allergic reaction to existence in my state. And yet, I don't plan on leaving this state. Probably ever. I'm just going to sit here and be miserable and allergic ever.
Okay.
The choices I have.
Yes.
What can I say? But throughout, centuries, we have worldwide instances, we will say, of statues who are weeping, primarily in relation to Christian cults.
Christian cult.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. People call my pagan religion a cult. I would call their religion. All right. It is what it is.
Plus,
especially going back
to... But there are Christian cults.
No, but especially when you're going back to the very early parts of Christianity, there are many different cults that are not the primary Catholic religion that are around at the time that believe in many different things. And so basically all of these different instances that happened throughout Europe are not necessarily Catholic.
Okay.
So, you have to kind of get a little bit of the context of what was happening in Europe at that time, which is just, the Gnostics were really big because they didn't believe exactly in, the divinity of Christ, or pretty much any of what was cobbled together.
Yeah, they're very interesting. The Gnostics, very interesting. I haven't done a lot of research on them, but what I have is
I've skimmed the surface.
Yes.
But no, it's very interesting, and I do plan on doing more research eventually if I ever have time to study for fun again.
Okay.
Probably not. So this is something that has been happening in specifically Christian-related statues for a very long time.
So, okay.
And because of this,
the Vatican lies below.
The Vatican now has very strict rules in investigating.
Okay.
And very rarely will they actually name it as a miracle. A lot of the different things that have happened were fraud. They were false.
Right.
weeping. And when I say false weeping, it's not that people were lying about the weeping. The statues really were weeping, but it was, as with the case I was starting to mention, in Italy, the statue of the Virgin Mary was crying blood.
Right.
Vatican scientists sample the blood, find out it is the blood of a man.
Okay.
Right? Why would the Virgin Mary be crying tears of blood that had male DNA? And the owner of the statue refused to be DNA tested.
And this was in the 60s?
I want to say it was in the 60s.
DNA didn't really come
I know, I'm like,
DNA.
I want to say it's in the 60s, and I'm talking about DNA testing. I'm like, no, that you're right. Maybe I can't find my
Sorry,
notes.
my true crime.
I know, I know, I'm like, I want to say it was the 60s, but I'm like, no, that can't be, because, yeah, DNA testing, and I can't find my note.
It's okay.
Of exactly
so it happened
when
sometime in the last century.
So it happened post-DNA testing, but that is one of what has happened, and the tests that they run.
Okay.
Other things that happen is hollow statues. People will, drill little holes kind of in the tear duct and set up either water or oil or something to come out of the tear duct. Another thing that happens a lot with the porcelain or stone statues is that people will put wax in the eye, so that as the ambient temperature rises, as in more people are in the sanctuary or room, the heat rises, causing the wax to melt, and because it's the shape of a human face and it's in the eye, it will, just because of the natural curvature, follow down as a tear.
I have often said and believed that if some of these posters and criminals would use their brain power for good, the world would be a much better.
Agreed.
Okay.
So this is something that gets a lot of attention from the Vatican, from the local diocese. Like, it is heavily invested. Now, with the case of the Lady of Guadalupe, which is actually at the Lady of Guadalupe Catholic Church in Hobbs.
Right.
I went to a Guadalupe Girl, Denver. I mean, they're kind of all over the place in the West. Like, that's why I say, I'm like, no, really, it's a thing here. But that is a bronze statue. They were able to lift her up.
Right.
There's just cobwebs in there.
Okay.
Now, the first time she cried
more than once.
Yeah, the first time she cried was Pentecost, which I just, having grown up in the religion, I found it very intriguing that the first time this happened was on Pentecost Sunday.
Right. Pentecost Sunday is when, for people who don't, it is when Christians celebrate that the Spirit of the Lord entered in and to go forth and do it spread. People started talking in all different languages, and it was God's man that they go out and preach the gospel to the world, and that's what's up.
It's the reason we have missionaries.
Yes.
Whereas Jews do.
Yes.
So that is the difference between some of the Abrahamic religion. The Jewish religion, Jews do not have missionaries. They're not trying to convert people to Judaism. Christians do. Right. Muslims also do, and a lot of it does come down to the different prophets saying, "Go forth, and
and I'm not trying to get into
but
everybody believe what they want to believe. That is the Pentecost. Christians are reminded that they're go forth and
it's also the beginning of the liturgical year.
Yeah.
So
and it's usually 6 weeks after Easter. Yeah. So
I
swear I turned my phone off as far as my ringer.
Bad podcaster.
Sorry, the 4 people who listen to us.
Yeah, we're so sorry, all 4 of you. Although, I mean, some of our episodes are getting 16 plus people listening, so thank you, all 16 of you. You're much appreciated.
You are.
We very much appreciate you.
Anyhow, so the first time they looked and was on Pentecost. Then
in July, she randomly started weeping again. And then again in September.
Okay.
I couldn't find any reference of her weeping again after September of 28. So it was the 3 times in that one song.
Okay.
Now, weeping statues and visions of either the Lady of Guadalupe or the Virgin Mary tend to be seen as happening either at warning, like as a warning, or at times of great sorrow.
Okay.
Handful of things. Right in that general vicinity, actually. Specifically, babies, cages, that sort of thing. All happening right around then. Yeah.
In that area.
Just a thought.
Yeah. Babies and cages. But,
but also so many other horrific things were happening at that point. It's kind of been nonstop, really, since 2016
I saw a meme
the
other day that said maybe everybody, something along the lines of, we all prayed for the world to not end in 2012, and so God was like, okay, I'm not going to end it, but here's everything I have planned.
Can we go back?
Yeah.
Can we go back, please? We do not want to be here.
Okay,
So in July, sorry, it's scanning this. I am going to read the full statement from the Archdiocese of Las Cruces regarding investigation. This is in July, so this is before the third instance, but long enough after the second instance that they had started the investigation. So as a prelude to this report, I wish to say a word about revelation from God. The Catholic Church recognizes an important difference between public revelation and private revelation. Public revelation includes scripture and tradition. As Catholics, these two are the bedrock of our faith, and it is magisterium, bishops in the union with Pope, that is the authentic interpreter of revelation. Private revelations include apparitions and messages of Mary, the saints, or of Jesus himself that have occurred after the death of the last apostle. With the death of the last apostle, public revelation ceased. While Catholics are obliged to hold to the teachings of public revelation, we are not morally obligated to believe private revelation. No new information regarding our salvation is to be gained from private revelation. The message of private revelations only reaffirm and highlight what Christ has already revealed in Scripture and tradition. Thus, Mary and the saints always lead us back to Jesus and the Church. This is why Mary instructed Saint Juan Diego, go to the bishop and build a temple. While miracles have occurred in the history of the Church, they always lead us back to the fundamentals of our faith. The church, the sacrament, prayer, and confession. That's the prelude.
Okay.
To what he's about to say about the investigation. So basically, we don't have to believe.
Right.
Church canon says we don't have to believe.
Right.
Because it's not valid because the last apostle. Therefore, God is only going to talk to the last apostle. Like, anything after?
Okay. No, I get it. I get it.
So that's kind of the big thing of what he was getting at. Essentially, what this next is saying is, I'm just going to read it. While the investigation of the phenomenon at Our Lady of Guadalupe Parish in Hobbs, New Mexico, regarding the statue is not yet complete, I wish to offer a progress. On Sunday, the Solemnity of Pentecost, the statue of Our Lady of Guadalupe appeared to be crying. Parishioners observed liquid emitting from the eyes of bronze statue. The liquid was reported to have emitted 3 times. On Sunday, the Solemnity of Pentecost, Monday the next day, the Feast of Mary of the Church, and on Saturday, the Feast of the Immaculate Heart. So those all happened in that same week.
Right.
So so I count that as one time because it was all in the same.
Right. Okay.
Then we get to July. Then we get to September. Right? She's very sad. Crying a lot for the first time, and who knows how long she had been standing there beforehand. So the pastor immediately called, sent video, did all of the correct things that a priest should do when confronted with a potentially weeping statue. Yeah. The statue was made of bronze. A hollow interior was examined. Nothing was found that could have created liquid. There were costs. In interviewing the owners of the Mexican company that produced the statues, they informed us that the process of creating the statue involves a wax mold upon which the liquid bronze poured, but that the process, the temperatures are so high, the wax completely melted away. There's no way that wax could have been what was weeping out of it.
Okay.
Now, this is where it gets a little more interesting.
More
interesting. So they send the liquid samples for chemical analysis, and 2 distinct methods of analysis indicate the same outcome, which is the liquid is olive oil with a scented mixture. This is quite similar chemically to the sacred chrism. The 3 oils blessed each year for use in our sacraments, and the sacred oils are all, like the carrier oil is olive oil for all of them.
Okay.
So it is 1 oil mixed with balsam and scented perfume, which is consecrated. The oil smelled like roses.
Okay.
So the first phase of the investigation is to determine if the phenomenon can be explained by natural causes. So far, we have not discerned natural causes for the statue's emitting of liquid. If the cause of the phenomena is supernatural, we must discern if it is from God or the devil. I remind you that the Church believes in the existence of fallen angels who at times try to trick us. We renounce the devil, however, when
all his evil promises.
When we renew our baptismal promises during the Easter season, we ask 3 questions. Do you renounce Satan and all of his works and all his empty show? We respond, I do, to all the questions. The discernment of whether it is phenomena from God or from the evil one is a longer process. The devil can sometimes imitate holy things in order to confuse us, so we must be prudent and vigilant. This discernment takes much longer, as we must look at the fruits of the phenomena. The fruits of the Holy Spirit are mentioned by St. Paul: charity, joy, peace, kindness, goodness, generosity, gentleness, faithfulness, modesty, self-control, and chastity. That is straight from Galatians chapter 5, verse 9. Thus, the investigation is not yet complete, so as to make a definitive pronouncement. The Holy Spirit and the Church will guide us in that respect.
Okay.
So, as of July of that year, the only pronouncement the Church has made is...
It was olive oil.
We know it was olive oil. We know it was sacred olive oil. As in it was mixed with all of the same chemicals that the traditional sacred oils use.
And it was consecrated, so.
Yeah. And so for anyone who has never been to a Catholic service or church, oils are used in a few various different ways. If it's Ash Wednesday, they will mix the oil with the ashes for the cross. If you are attending a Catholic church but are not Catholic, therefore you cannot take the sacrament of communion, you walk up to the priest with your hands kind of crossed across your chest, and they will anoint you with the oil again on a cross on your forehead. It's the oil used for baptism. It's used in weddings. I mean, this oil is kind of used in in every single holy sacrament in one way, shape, or form. So they're fairly certain that they know what that chemical compound looks like.
Okay.
As of today, May 22nd, 2022, a year and a couple days later, we still have no official pronouncement.
Well, it's 4 years.
Yeah, and 2 days.
Yeah, you said
a
year.
No, I said all these years.
Oh, okay.
All these years and 2 days later.
Nothing.
The church has not made an official announcement. But in the modern day and age, if the church cannot find a actual reason, a scientific reason, they very, very rarely call it a miracle, which is actually kind of a big flip from the church of, 1,000 years ago.
Right.
When there was no science and everything was, oh, it's a miracle.
Right. Bad podcast.
Yeah, so we have a potential miracle, potential fuckery of the devil.
Cool.
We'll let you decide.
Exactly. That's pretty cool, though.
Right? I had no idea that there was I've heard of weeping statues.
Oh, yeah.
Up in Canada, all over the U.S., Mexico, Central America, down in South America, all over Europe, even into different parts of Asia and Africa where Christianity is moving. I had no idea there was one here. And that it was while we lived.
I know, it's crazy.
That's the part where I'm like, how did we miss this? Because we actually lived in this state at this time.
And we follow the news.
Yeah, we do try to pay attention to the things going on around us. So that's why for me, this one was so very intriguing because it's not that far away. No, and I didn't know.
That was
which
cool.
is so weird. And people were coming from all over the world, but primarily people from Texas and from Arizona were coming in.
They like to come to state.
Right, we are the cool state.
That was awesome, though. Thank you.
So with that, we will talk to you mañana.
Maybe.